If I'd known I was going to run into Nolan West today, there's no way I would have shown up at school barefaced and still smelling like hot pot. The worst part isn't running into your ex. It's running into your ex when he looks even better than before, clean cut, gorgeous, and you're not wearing a lick of makeup. You're Ethan's guardian? Nolan's voice was cool and distant. I'm his homeroom teacher, Nolan West. I mean, yeah, we broke up years ago, but there's no way he didn't recognize me, right? Nolan and I got together junior year of high school. He was the valedictorian type, and I was the slacker. He dragged my GPA up by a whole point that year, and we ended up getting into 2 universities in the same city. Except his school was at the south end, and mine was at the north end. 3 train transfers, 3 hours round trip. On top of that, he was swamped right after freshman year started. Research with professors, competitions, you name it. The time we had together just kept shrinking. And back then, I was at that age where you say, let's break up, like it's nothing, without thinking twice. The next few years, even though we were in the same city, we never ran into each other. Not once. And now, of all ways to cross paths again, it had to be like this. My little brother got caught dating someone, and as his guardian, I obviously had to play the humble card. Mr. West, it's nice to meet you. I'm Ethan's sister, Vera Chen. I've spent my whole life being the chaotic one, getting sent to the principal's office more times than I can count. But I'd never been this awkward before. And honestly, I wanted to kill my brother. Like, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be in this mess. My parents were both out of town on business, so there was no one else to take the heat. The other kids' parents were there too, 2 against 1. I apologized my ass off. Luckily, they were pretty reasonable. Nolan handed me both kids' report cards. They're in 12th grade now. Graduation exams are just a few months away. Their mindset is crucial right now. I've already talked to them. They've agreed to focus on studying and not let this affect their grades until after exams. The reason I called you all in today is because I need the parents' cooperation to help guide them. I glanced at the report card and mumbled under my breath. So that's why the little punk's been pulling all-nighters like he's possessed. Man's got my old moves down. Nolan paused. Then, finally, he lifted his eyes to look at me. Teen romance runs in the family, huh? Excuse me? Something about the way he said it just rubbed me the wrong way. And when I looked up into those cool, dark eyes of his, my brain short-circuited. Nah. Just following the teacher's excellent example. Dead silence. The whole office froze. The other parents and teachers stared at me like I'd just grown a second head. And then it hit me, what I'd actually said. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mr. West, that's not what I meant. Don't take it the wrong way. Right then, the other parents got a phone call and dipped. Now it was just me and Nolan. Awkward didn't even begin to cover it. So I decided to bounce too. Nolan got up to walk me out. Every step was pure agony. We finally got to the door. I thought I was free. And then Nolan spoke again, his voice flat. I didn't teach him to make the first move. Me, the one who'd chased Nolan relentlessly back in the day, just stood there. In high school, Nolan was the guy every girl had a secret crush on. But me? I wasn't secret about it. I was loud and proud. Everyone knew how much I liked him. Everyone also knew how hard he was to get. Which was why everyone lost their minds when we finally got together. The way he was looking at me right now, it was exactly how he looked the first time I confessed. Completely unbothered. Something hot flared up in my chest. And before I could stop myself, the words came tumbling out. Mr. West, let's be real here. Yeah, I chased you first, but I was also the one who dumped you. The second it left my mouth, I regretted it. He wasn't my boyfriend anymore. He was my little brother's homeroom teacher. I was asking for it, running my mouth like that. Thankfully, my useless little brother finally showed up and saved my sorry ass. Vera? The kid had been waiting right outside the office the whole time. I quickly said, Mr. West, you don't need to walk me out. I'll just have a quick word with Ethan, and then I'm gone. My friend's waiting for me at the gate. I didn't even dare look at his face. I just grabbed Ethan and hauled him down the hallway. He gave me a weird look. Vera, why are you so tense? Who's tense? Ethan rolled his eyes. I've known you for 17 years. You think I can't tell? He glanced back over his shoulder. Mr. West isn't that scary, is he? Ethan, you're the one who got caught dating someone. Shouldn't you be, I don't know, feeling guilty or something? Not back-talking me. Ethan said, but you dated in high school too, and I didn't see you feeling guilty. Thanks. Straight to cardiac arrest. I stared at him blankly. Well, here's the karma. Your homeroom teacher? That's the guy I dated back then. Ethan? His face went through about 5 stages of shock before settling into pure agony. I'm dead. You had your fun back in the day, and now you're gonna let your little brother burn for it. You weren't even this scared when you got caught dating. And how was I supposed to know Nolan would end up being Ethan's teacher? I got to the school gate and hopped into a car parked by the curb. My best friend, Mira Chun, glanced at me. What's up? Got chewed out by the teacher. We'd both taken the day off, grabbed some hot pot together, and then she dropped me off at school. I slumped into the passenger seat like a dead woman. Worse. So much worse. His homeroom teacher is Nolan West. Mira went, oh, and then 3 seconds later. Holy shit. I cover my ears, but she grabbed my hands and yanked them away. Nolan? Nolan? The guy you dated in high school? I nodded weakly. Mira clapped a hand over her mouth. Oh man, Ethan's screwed. His sister dumped his homeroom teacher. How is he gonna survive the rest of the year? Me. Does nobody feel bad for me in this situation? Feel bad for you? Mira shot me a look. You bagged the unattainable king of the school, and then you dumped him. What's there to feel bad about? Okay, fine. I hate to admit it, but with a face and a body like Nolan's, yeah, she wasn't wrong. It's been years. Let's drop it. Mira could tell I was genuinely down, so she swallowed her gossip instinct and changed the subject. Hey, Kayla and Liam are getting married this Saturday. You going? They were both old high school friends. More importantly, Liam was tight with Nolan. They'd probably invite him too. Want me to tell them you can't make it? For some reason, the image of Nolan's cold, calm, completely unbothered face floated through my mind. Something hot and restless started hammering against my ribs. We're all adults here. No point dwelling on the past. Besides, he's my brother's teacher now. Can't exactly avoid him forever, right? I'm in. Saturday rolled around. I threw on a dress, did my makeup, and headed to the wedding. The bride and groom were at the entrance greeting guests. I handed over my red envelope and smiled. Congrats. So happy for you guys. The bride looked past my shoulder, and her face lit up. Vera, you and Nolan came together? Wait, what? I spun around. And sure enough, Nolan was walking up right behind me. He was wearing a white button-down and black slacks. Clean, simple, stupidly gorgeous. Some people just naturally become the center of attention wherever they go. Nolan West was one of those people. He must have heard what she said, because he looked up. Dark eyes, dark hair, radiating that untouchable, untamable vibe. 1 second of eye contact, and I whipped back around. No, we're not together. The bride blinked, confused. Her husband gave her a little nudge, and then smiled as he walked over to greet Nolan. Nolan, glad you could make it. I speed-walked inside, and spotted Mira waving at me from across the room. Vera, over here. I rushed over, thinking I was safe. And then I saw the sign on the table. High school table. Welp. I looked around. Yup. All familiar faces. And then Nolan showed up. There were only 2 seats left. One to my left. One across from me. Hey, class president. A guy from our old friend group waved him over. Word must have already spread from the entrance. Anyone with eyes could tell we weren't together anymore. Footsteps got closer. I stared at the little white teacup in front of me, my heart pounding for no good reason. And then he walked past me, past the seat on my left, and sat down across the table. 1 beat of silence. Luckily, the guy who'd called him over was good at keeping the energy up. The table got lively again fast. Heard you're teaching at First High now. That school's impossible to get into. Well, he was class president for a reason. Some people are just winners no matter where they go. Man, I can't believe Kayla and Liam are the first couple from our class to tie the knot. I always thought it'd be. The guy stopped himself mid-sentence.
Dead.
A few pairs of eyes darted between me and Nolan. Back in the day, Nolan and I were the it couple. The whole school knew. Nobody saw our breakup coming. I looked up at him across the table. His head was slightly tilted down, pouring tea. The line from his brow to his nose was so perfect it almost hurt. He looked like he didn't have a care in the world. Something clenched in my chest. I made an excuse and headed to the bathroom. Mira texted me. Be real with me. A guy like that, you break up with him and you don't regret it? What if you tried to win him back? From the stall next to me, I heard voices. I can't believe Nolan and Vera broke up. Remember how hard she chased him? So what? A guy like Nolan can have anyone he wants. They were never on the same level anyway.
Exactly.
And honestly, I don't think Nolan ever liked her that much. He probably just gave in because she wouldn't stop chasing him. And then he dumped her, obviously. So much for not dwelling on the past, huh? Adults? I mean, technically I was the one who dumped Nolan. But everything else they said was true. I typed back to Mira and started talking big. Get this straight, I left him first. If anyone's doing the chasing now, it's him. Mira, LMAO. Mira, goals. Tragic. Delusional. I waited until those girls were long gone before I finally came out of the stall. When I got back to the table, a few people had had some drinks and were really getting into it. I sat down and was about to go back to eating when Mira pinched my thigh under the table. Why'd you block me? I shot her a look. You know why. Hey, Vera. I looked up. It was Brittany, one of the 3 girls I'd overheard in the bathroom. We'd had some drama back in high school. If it weren't for this wedding, we wouldn't be sitting at the same table. She used to have a thing for Nolan. After he and I got together, she tried to trip me up more than once. She smiled sweetly. So, if you don't mind me asking, are you single right now? The table went quiet. You already asked the question. Don't pretend like you're being considerate. She added, I have a few friends who are single. Thought I might set you up. I smiled back. Thanks, but no thanks. My standards are pretty high. The table got even quieter. The smile almost slipped off her face. But Nolan was literally sitting right there, living proof, so she couldn't even argue. She paused. Then her eyes flickered. Fair enough. So, you haven't dated anyone at all these past few years? Oh, I see what you're doing. You think I couldn't find anyone better than Nolan? Or, like you said in the bathroom, that guys like him only existed because he was blind enough to date me? I mean, I've dated a couple guys, I said. The first one was right after Nolan and I broke up. I said yes to a senior on impulse. He tried to hold my hand on day 3. Grossed me out so bad, I called it off. The second one was a blind date my aunt set up after graduation. Didn't even last 3 days. On our second meal, he kept going on about how I should quit my job and be a stay-at-home mom after marriage. Blocked him on the spot. Technically, saying I'd dated a couple guys wasn't even a lie. The looks around the table were priceless. I broke the silence with a smile. Hey, you've got to try different things to figure out who's really the one for you, right? Across the table, Nolan lifted his eyes and looked at me. Fed up with the whole weird vibe, I decided to take the initiative. Wouldn't you say so, Mr. West? Brittany looked like she was about to have an aneurysm. Why are you calling him Mr. West? Oh, right, forgot to mention. Mr. West is my little brother's teacher now. We just saw each other a few days ago. Hear that? That's what a mature ex looks like. That's what it means to make peace with your past. That's what. Dunno. Nolan set down his teacup. His long fingers looked like carved jade. His voice was cool. I've only ever had one. The air turned to concrete. For a second, I really thought Nolan was trying to throw me under the bus, make me look like the villain in everyone's eyes. But at the same time, my heart started slamming against my ribs. How many years had it been since we broke up? With everything Nolan had going for him, he could have dated anyone he wanted. And yet he said he'd only ever had one. Before I could spiral too far, the bride and groom came around for toasts, and the topic got buried. At the end of the night, People started filtering out. I saw Brittany sidle up to Nolan, her voice syrupy sweet. Hey, class president, my nephew's applying to high school soon. He really wants to get into First High. Do you think I could add you on WeChat? Just in case I have questions later. Night and day from the way she'd been trash-talking me in the bathroom earlier. Like we couldn't all see right through her. I sped up, not wanting to hear Nolan's answer. But his cool voice still drifted over. I teach 12th grade. I don't handle admissions. If you have questions, you can call the school's administration office. Brittany's face fell.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yell. I'll do that. Gotta hand it to him. Class president's still as popular as ever. But man, his rejection game has gotten smooth. Mira whistled. You should have seen Brittany's face when you walked off. Priceless. I was looking for my car. What do you expect? If he didn't know how to shut people down, his contact list would have been full years ago. Back in the day, I put a coffee on his desk every single day for a week just to get his number. My allowance was basically nothing. I starved for that entire week. Honestly, I still don't know where I got the guts, the stubbornness, to chase him like that.
True.
And didn't you hear him? Only ever had one. Mira paused, then gave me a thumbs up. Vera-chan, I gotta hand it to you. I thought you were full of it when you said he'd have to chase you.
But now?
I'm starting to think it might actually happen. Here's my car. I clicked the keys and started walking. I'm not that easy, though. He'd have to. Something fell off. I stopped. Slowly turned my head. Looked at the car parked next to mine. The window was half down. His profile was sharp and stupidly handsome. He'd just finished a call, I think. He heard the noise and turned his head. Nolan. I wanted to die right there. He lifted his gaze.
His voice was calm.
I'm supposed to be chasing you? Okay, now I really wanted to die. No, that's not, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying I'm actually pretty easy to chase. Wait, no, I mean it wouldn't be that hard for you to, that's not. He just looked at me with those steady, unreadable eyes, and I wanted to claw the walls. Just then Mira came up behind me. She hadn't heard any of it. But when she saw Nolan standing there, she froze too. I started making crazy eyes at her. Get me out of here.
Now.
Myra's gaze bounced between me and Nolan. The light bulb went off. She cleared her throat. Oh my God, I totally forgot. I have a work thing I have to get to. Gotta run. Hey Vera, your car's busted, right? Why don't you have Nolan give you a ride? Mira, you're dead to me. But Mira was already gone, clearly having missed every single memo I sent. I took a deep breath and yanked open my car door. Nolan said, I thought your car was broken. I swallowed my pride and pretended to fiddle with the steering wheel.
Huh.
Guess it fixed itself. Nolan, you sure? Of course I was sure. I just gotten it serviced a few days ago. That's why I had Mira drive me to school in the first place.
Yep.
Works fine. I buckled my seatbelt, ready to disappear into thin air. And then, Nolan got out of his own car, walked over, and knocked on my window. Then do me a favor and give me a ride. Mine's busted. I thought he was messing with me. I opened my mouth to say no. And then he added, the tow truck's on its way. Okay, so his car really was broken. That's who he'd been on the phone with. Saying no felt rude. But with our history, saying yes also felt weird. Nolan finished up with the tow truck guys and then took another call. He frowned. Got it. We'll be there as soon as we can. He walked back over. I opened my mouth to tell him to call a cab or find someone else. And then he said, it's half an hour to St. Mary's. We should get moving. Me. Huh? St. Mary's? Why? Nolan looked at me. Ethan's stomach suddenly hurt in class. The school nurse thinks it might be appendicitis. They're taking him to St. Mary's now. My heart dropped. By the time we got to the hospital, Ethan was already in surgery. The guy who'd brought him was the school nurse. The young woman was another teacher. When they saw me and Nolan walk in together, they both looked confused. The female teacher studied me for a second. Mr. West, this is Ethan's sister. Nolan didn't bother explaining why we'd arrived together. How's he doing? The teacher explained. He got a really bad stomachache during math class. Dr. Anderson said it was urgent, so we brought him straight here. He's been in there for a bit. Should be out soon. Nolan nodded. He could tell I was freaking out, so he leaned down and said, "Why don't you sit down for a bit?" I shook my head. "I'm staying right here." Nolan paused. His voice softened, and somehow it was weirdly reassuring.
Hey.
Acute appendicitis is a routine surgery. He's gonna be fine. The other two teachers both looked surprised, especially the woman. Her eyes lingered on me for a few extra beats. I didn't care about any of that. All I could think about was Ethan in that operating room. I'd been so rushed getting here that I'd broken a sweat even though it was freezing out. Now that I was standing still, a draft from the hospital hallway hit me, and I shivered. And then, something warm settled over my shoulders. It smelled faintly of him, mixed with a barest trace of alcohol from the wedding. Nolan hadn't been drinking. Neither had I. The alcohol on his jacket was just from the reception. But somehow, it felt like it was burning. A single spark and everything caught. I turned my head. He was already looking at me. He said, "Your parents are still out of town. If you get sick too, there's nobody here to take care of him." I snapped back to reality. "Thanks," I mumbled. An hour later, Ethan's surgery was done, and he was moved to a regular room. I handled the admission paperwork and called my parents to let them know he was fine, just needed a few days to recover. When I got back to the room, Nolan was standing by the bed, talking to Ethan. "Just focus on getting better for now. Don't worry about falling behind. I'll send you the notes and problem sets." Every second of 12th grade counted. I watched them and felt a weird sense of déjà vu. This was exactly how he used to be with me back when he was dragging my grades up. Except not exactly. He was way more patient with Ethan. Back in the day, when I'd get brain fog and want to goof off, I had to beg Nolan for ages just to hold my hand. 10 problem sets for one hand-holding.
I swear.
I was still brooding when Nolan finished up and stood. "Get some rest." He gave us some space and stepped out. But Ethan had no sense of self-preservation. The second Nolan was gone, he gave me the death stare and went straight for the kill.
"So,
how'd you end up coming here with my homeroom teacher?" "Me." I gave him my best dead-eyed look.
Ethan.
"Have you forgotten that I'm your biological sister?" He was pale from the surgery. Didn't stop him from coming for me. "I haven't forgotten. I also haven't forgotten that you dated him, and then you dumped him." Man lost his appendix and still had energy to run his mouth. Guess he really was fine. "Ethan, you'd better be nice to your beloved sister, or the rest of your hospital stay is gonna be a living hell." I turned to leave. "Wait, Vera." I looked back. "What?" He suddenly got awkward. And then he flashed me his best suck-up grin. "Little favor?" "What?" "When you go to school to pick up my stuff, can you tell Saoirse I'm fine? That I'm gonna be okay?" Saoirse, the girl he liked. I'd seen her photo in his backpack. I was speechless. "You have the worst timing." He was unbothered. "I just don't want her to worry." I blinked.
"Fine. Got it."
"Thanks, Vera." He paused, then added with a worried look, "Hey, you and Mr. West. You're not getting back together, right?" I gave him a death glare. He swallowed. "I mean, there's a lot of people who like him, even at our school. So, if you do get back together, just promise me you won't break up again before graduation." Me calmly. "Ethan, you should be grateful you just had surgery. That appendix might have just saved your sorry life." What a day. I walked out of the room to get some air before this wild ride gave me a heart attack. I found a stairwell. Dim light. I let out a long breath and rubbed my eyes, which were suddenly stinging. Then I heard footsteps. Nolan was there. He was smoking. The little orange glow flickered in the dark. He was leaning against the wall, looking lonely as hell. When he noticed me, he looked over and then stubbed out the cigarette. Here's something nobody knew. Class perfect. Golden boy Nolan West smoked. I'd caught him on the roof once back in high school. He looked just as unbothered then, like he didn't care if I told on him. I'd asked him, "Is it fun?" He didn't answer. Just walked away. After we got together, I brought it up again. Said I wanted to try it out of curiosity. He said no. And then he never smoked again after that. But now he was smoking again. Then again, it had been years since we broke up. I opened my mouth to ask when I should go to school to pack Ethan's things. And then he walked toward me. Vera. He said my name softly. The first time since we'd reconnected. No, Miss Chen. No last name. Just. What are you crying for? He was so close. Close enough that I could feel his breath when he spoke. For a second I was back there. Back in the old days. Back when he used to call me like that. At first, he'd always called me Vera. Formal. Polite. I hated it. So one day I shoved a book in his face and pointed at a line of ancient poetry. Hey, Nolan, did you know this line? The peach tree blooms, its leaves so green. When you marry, you'll bring us luck and keep the family serene. It's my name. It's your name. We're destined, you and me. You get that? Back then, teenage Nolan's ears would turn pink when I riled him up. Vera. It's babe. It's babe. Long silence. And then finally he caved. Said it under his breath.
Babe.
I'd been the one to fall first. I'd been the one to chase like a maniac. So most of the time he had the upper hand. But this was one of the rare times I won. And I never let him forget it. I'd lean my head on my arm and smile at him, so full of myself.
Nolan.
You're so cute. And then he'd clam up. And then he'd shove a stack of problem sets at me. Do these. I'll check them when you're done.
Anyway.
Nostalgia is great and all, but not every memory is a good one. I wanted to say I wasn't crying, but something about him being right there, his breath warm against my face, made me say something else. I thought you quit. I tried. A beat. Couldn't. I mumbled. Oh, and the hallway fell quiet again. Silence makes everything feel dangerous. We were too close. I knew it. I didn't step back. Neither did he. I could feel him breathing. Close enough to touch. Mr. West. A woman's voice. From the stairwell door. Are you in here? We should head out. The faculty meeting's about to start. The spell shattered. I jolted back to reality and yanked his jacket off, shoving it at him. Mr. West. Thanks for the jacket. The hallway went quiet. Nolan paused. He looked into my eyes. One look, and I knew he could tell I hadn't actually been crying. And suddenly I was nervous. Did he think I was faking it?
But he didn't say anything.
Just blinked, seemed to snap back to himself, took the jacket and walked away. I remembered what I'd been about to ask earlier. Should I come Monday to pack up Ethan's stuff? He said, yeah, without looking back. I followed him with my eyes and saw that the female teacher was still standing there. She'd been waiting for him? He said something to her. She nodded and smiled. She was pretty, I noticed. Warm and smart-looking. Mira was right. A guy like Nolan? Women threw themselves at him left and right. I slapped my own cheeks. Wake up, Vera. You were just a blip on his radar. A mistake he made when he was young and dumb. Don't go reading into one little sentence and convincing yourself he's been pining for you all these years. My parents flew back that night. I stayed at the hospital for 2 days before I finally got to go home and rest. But I couldn't sleep. I called Mira.
Mira.
I can't sleep. Myra's voice was a ghostly whisper of pure resentment.
Vera.
Do you not realize tomorrow is Monday? Do you have any idea how precious sleep is to us corporate slaves? I ignored the second half. Right.
Monday.
I have to go to school to pick up Ethan's books. Mira. And I'm guessing his homeroom teacher's gonna take me. I've never been to his classroom before. No idea where he sits. Would that be too much trouble for him? Long pause. Vera. Myra's voice was flat. If you want to see the man, just say so. Don't waste my goddamn time. Do you know how expensive my eye cream is? I never said I wanted to see Nolan. Mira. Did I say Nolan's name? Women really lose all brain cells after dark, don't they? Fine. Night. I reached to hang up. But Mira wasn't done. Wait. Don't leave me hanging. For real, though. Your little brother gets sick, and he steps up like that. Plus that face. Those legs. You're really not tempted? I clutched my pillow and said nothing. Mira doubled down. Look, fate doesn't just hand you stuff like this. You're both single. Win him back. I sighed.
Mira.
There's no winning him back. Mira blinked. Why not? I touched my left knee. There's a 3-centimeter scar there. Did I ever tell you why I actually broke up with Nolan? Mira went, I've always wanted to ask, but you never wanted to talk about it. I just figured you liked him so much. If you ended it, there had to be a reason. I rolled over and watched the moonlight creep across my windowsill. Freshman year. My club organized a hiking trip. I fell off a slope. Got banged up pretty bad. Had a bunch of cuts. Mira gasped. What? You never told me that. I was fine. Nothing broken. But I told Nolan. I knew he was busy. But he didn't text me back all day. I called him like 10 times. No answer. I waited until 4 in the morning. Finally got a text. He said to rest. That he was busy. He'd come see me later. Silence on the phone. I hugged the pillow tighter. It had been years. I could barely remember the details now. I could even talk about it calmly like this. But
Mira.
I'd heard I'm busy so many times. Other girls went on dates with their boyfriends. He was busy. I was hurt in the hospital. Still busy. How busy did you have to be that you couldn't even love me a little? That relationship, I'd begged for it. From day one, Nolan held every card. I couldn't make him love me. All I could do was stay. Or leave. I really, really liked him. But I got tired too. My little brother had surgery today, and the first thing he did afterward was ask me to tell the girl he likes that he's okay. Because he didn't want her to worry. But me and Nolan? We were never like that. Back then, I'd sat alone in a hospital room for an entire day, an entire night, staring at my phone. Maybe those people were right. Maybe he never really liked me that much. So when his text finally came, I broke up with him.
Blocked.
Deleted. I was optional. I chose to opt out.
Monday.
I took the day off and went to school. I found the classroom for 12th grade class 1. Nolan had just finished his morning announcements. I knocked. Mr. West? I'm here to pick up Ethan's things. Every kid in the room stared at me. Nolan nodded. Second row. Last seat. I walked over and realized, Saoirse sat right in front of him. The girl looked at me with big, bright eyes. I smiled at her as I started shoving Ethan's stuff into a bag. One of the other boys asked, Is Ethan okay now, ma'am? I mentally thanked the kid, winked at Saoirse, and said, Yeah, the surgery went great. He'll be back in a few days. Saoirse's cheeks went pink. She smiled. I'd just finished packing when the bell rang. Nolan walked me out. And who did we run into? The math teacher. The one from the hospital. Yeah, she taught Ethan's class. Guess this period was hers. She saw me and did a double take. Then she smiled at Nolan. Mr. West, a few of us were looking at that last exam question. We think there might be an issue. Think you could take a look when you have time? Nolan nodded. Sure. Something hot twisted in my chest. Nolan took a few steps, realized I wasn't following, and looked back. What's wrong? I tried really hard not to say anything. And then I said something. Nothing. Just impressed, that's all. Physics teacher, and even the math department comes to you for help. Nolan put one hand in his pocket. It's nothing. I've taught so much of it over the years. It just stuck. The girl whose math was so bad Nolan had to explain the same problem to me 13 times, wanted to evaporate. I was mortified. All the little fluttery feelings I'd walked in with.
Gone. Right. Well.
You must have loved teaching a dummy like me. Bet it's way easier teaching someone actually smart. Nolan just looked at me, said nothing. My stomach dropped.
Crap.
Did that sound jealous? Oh God, he's gonna think I'm jealous. Nolan nodded. Ethan's definitely easier to teach than you were. I couldn't decide which was worse, him thinking I still had feelings, or him calling me an idiot. So I did the smart thing. I ran. Welp, nothing else, Mr. West. I'll be going now. Hold up. He held out his phone. Add me. My heart slammed into my ribs. And then he added, I'll send you the notes and problem sets. You can give them to Ethan.
Oh, right.
No phones in class. I scanned his code stone-faced. Hit add. Thanks, Mr. West. So sorry for all the trouble. Nolan accepted. The screen read, "You are now friends with Nolan West. Say hi." He put his phone away. Don't mention it. I had no idea when Nolan had changed his number. We hadn't talked since the breakup, hadn't even thought about adding each other again. His Moments feed was empty. Just like him.
Cold. Distant.
I was still scrolling through old messages when Ethan sighed.
Vera.
Can I please look at Mr. West's notes now? I made a face and handed him the phone. My mom was peeling a banana nearby. You know, Ethan's homeroom teacher is such a good man. Vera, why don't you take him out to dinner sometime?
Me.
Back when I was the one dating in high school, the teachers had been pretty chill about it, probably because Nolan was a golden boy. They just talked to us separately and let it go. Not like Ethan getting caught and having us called in. So my parents had no idea that teacher was Nolan. I don't know. Teachers aren't really supposed to accept stuff like that. My mom took back the banana she'd been about to hand me. It's not a bribe. He's helped us so much. If it weren't for him, Ethan's grades would have tanked. Ethan with zero survival instinct. Tell me about it. Vera, if it weren't for Mr. West back in the day, your exam scores would have been
Great. Just great.
My parents stared in shock. Ethan realized he'd screwed up and quietly went back to his problem sets. I couldn't take it anymore. I gave them the short version. My mom processed for 3 seconds. Then, is he single?
Oh.
She got all excited. I saw him at parent-teacher conferences. Tall, handsome. He'd be perfect for you, Vera. Good job. Good personality. A total catch. If he's still single, you should give it another shot. The guys I've been setting you up with don't hold a candle to someone you already know. Me. I dragged my feet. Hoped it'd blow over. But my mom brought it up every 3 days. A week later, Ethan was back in school. And my chat history with Nolan? Still stuck on the last problem set he'd sent. Ethan asked him questions sometimes. Nolan would reply with voice messages. I scrolled through them when nobody was looking, played them all, and then felt like a total freak. I closed the chat and opened the last PDF he'd sent, trying to focus. 3 minutes later, I muttered, "Man, these problems are impossible."
Wait.
I looked down. In my distracted haze, I'd accidentally long pressed the voice message button and sent a 3-second recording of myself grumbling. I have never deleted anything so fast in my entire life. And then a message popped up. Which part's impossible? Kill me now. I'd imagined a million different ways to message Nolan first. But not this. Never this. I gave up on dignity and sent a cute cat sticker. Mr. West, my whole family's so grateful for everything you've done for Ethan. Let me take you to dinner sometime. Whenever you're free? Nolan didn't ask why I'd ignored his question. He replied fast. How about today?
Oh.
Were 12th grade homeroom teachers usually this free? But he'd said yes. I couldn't back out now. Sure. What do you feel like? Thai? Ramen? Nolan. Hot pot. I blinked. Nolan had always had a light palate. I was a spice freak. But I wasn't about to read into it. Okay. 7 o'clock. Spring was warming up, but the hot pot place was still packed. Except at our table. We ordered. Silence. I never thought I'd be sitting at a table alone with Nolan West. Playing on my phone?
Rude.
Small talk? What small talk? The waiter swooped in. We have a promotion today. If you two can solve this, you win a little prize. Solve what? A riddle? I could do that. I said yes enthusiastically. The waiter brought out a plate of cabbage. Me? What the hell? The waiter beamed. Gentlemen, you want to take a guess? Nolan glanced at it. Forever and always? The waiter. Ding ding ding.
Correct.
This dish is on us, plus a little toy. Hope you two lovebirds stay happy and grow old together. There is nothing more awkward in this world than giving a couple's forever gift to two people who have already broken up. I scrambled. Actually, we're not. Thanks, Nolan said. He cut me off. Then, he handed me the little toy. I took it automatically. I'm way too old for this crap. Nolan held his hand back out. Then give it here. I stuffed it in my pocket. I'll give it to Ethan. I swear his mouth twitched. I realized how ridiculous I was being and actually blushed. The waiter walked away with a huge grin. And then I heard someone say my name. Vera?
Huh.
I looked up. Some random guy was standing there, staring at me in surprise. Wow. You look even better than I remember. I squinted. Do I know you? His face fell. Nolan's voice came from across the table, calm as still water. That's your ex. Sometimes I think the universe just hates me. I didn't understand how I could run into my 3-day-long ex-boyfriend from college at a hot pot restaurant. I also didn't understand how Nolan recognized him when I couldn't even remember his face. I scrambled. Sorry, man. My memory's trash. The guy's face got even worse. He muttered something and bolted. I looked at Nolan. His expression was blank, but I felt weirdly guilty. I really didn't remember him. Nolan nodded. Which number was he again? This man didn't talk much, but when he did, it was murder. I wanted to be mad, but with him looking at me like that, all I could do was mutter under my breath. I just don't remember, okay? Nolan picked up a slice of fatty beef and put it in his own bowl. Me. Petty much. Back in the day, the first bite was always mine, especially hot pot, or grilled meat, or seafood. I never once lifted a finger, just waved my chopsticks and ate. Nolan acted like he didn't hear me. I grabbed an even bigger slice of beef and grumbled. You literally explained a problem set to another girl, and I didn't say anything. Nolan paused, looked up. You want a problem set? I'll explain it to you anytime. I almost choked. Little Nolan, that's a terrible thing to say. We both froze. Back when he used to make me do problem sets, he'd say that all the time. And I'd whine and refuse. Whining usually ended with hand-holding. And if I did well on the problems, sometimes a hug. Anyway, regrets. I had them. I fell back on my old reliable Ethan.
Talk about students.
That was safe, right? Midway through, Mira texted me. Barbecue tonight? I sent her a photo. Mira, so love really does die, huh? And then she noticed. Wait, who is that across from you? I told her the truth. My parents made me take him to dinner, to thank him for helping with Ethan. Mira, you're so pretty. Me? Mira, for someone with no brain cells left. Mira, let me see how much of a hopeless romantic you really are. Mira, remember what he did to you? Remember you said you two would never work? Put down your chopsticks and walk away right now. Me. Mira, what if he actually liked me the whole time? Mira.
She blocked me.
Thanks. I hate it. I put down my phone.
Took a breath.
Looked at Nolan. Nolan, why did you recognize that guy? He lifted his eyes. I could hear my own heartbeat. I didn't even know what answer I was waiting for. Nolan and I didn't go to the same college. Sure, we visited sometimes, but there's no way he'd have met that guy. Unless. Does it matter? Nolan asked. I blinked. Vera. His eyes went dark for a second. His lips pressed together. The warm light fell across his face, and for a moment, he looked just like the boy I'd known in high school. What matters is that I'm jealous. I showed up at Myra's apartment that night. Mira looked at me like I was a lost cause.
So.
He looks back once. And you forgive him? I lay on her bed like a starfish. I don't know. I know we can't go back. The stuff that happened, it happened. But he's Nolan. He was the guy Vera Chin had been in love with since she was 16. The time we'd been apart was longer than the time we'd been together. I'd thought time would smooth everything over. But now I realized the weight of those memories wasn't the same. The years without him, the moment he said those words, they all compressed into something light and thin and repetitive. Only the old days, the days with him, felt real, felt alive. After we broke up, I used to think back. And I'd remember stuff. Little stuff. He found out I'd starved myself for a week to buy him coffee. After that, he always brought me breakfast. When I get frustrated and think I was too dumb to learn, he never got impatient. And Brittany, remember her? She hid a cockroach in my desk once. I wasn't scared, but Nolan got pissed. I'd never seen his face go that cold. After that, until graduation, Brittany crossed the street to avoid me. That wasn't all. I'd always been oblivious, too caught up in the high of being with him. Any tiny bit of distance felt huge. But after we broke up, looking back, I remembered other things too. Little things I'd overlooked. Mira thought for a long time. Then she touched my face. What did this man do to deserve you? Okay,
Here's the plan.
let him chase you. Hang out with him more. And when it feels right, talk to him. Really talk. And then decide whether you want to try again. I kissed her cheek. Best idea you've ever had. Easier said than done. You can't expect a 12th grade homeroom teacher to have a lot of free time. After that night, after he dropped that devastating line, sadly, Mr. West did not launch a full-scale pursuit. He just started sending me Ethan's grades. Separately, even though my parents already got them. Sometimes he'd mention a concept. The same ones I'd gotten wrong back in the day. The same ones Ethan got wrong now. Except Ethan fixed it in one try. I needed about 15. I argued some more. Eventually got defensive and embarrassed. Mr. West, you science people. Your memories are just that good, huh? Nolan had been busy prepping for mock exams. He didn't reply until late that night. Anything involving you? I remember all of it. March came. The school was holding prom for 12th grade. Nolan invited me separately. I pretended to be hesitant. My parents are going. I don't really need to. Nolan called me. I shot up in bed like I'd been electrocuted. We'd been texting on and off. He'd gotten into the habit of saying good morning and good night. But this was the first time he'd initiated a call. I cleared my throat like 3 times, sat up straight, and answered. The audio was quiet. The faint buzz of electricity filled the silence. He didn't say anything for a while. I couldn't take it. Mr. West. His voice was low and cool and smooth, like feathers brushing against my ear. I want to see you, he said. The next day, I went to school with my parents. Ethan looked me up and down. Vera, you got a hot date after this, or something?
Ethan.
Don't make me hit you on your special day. First High was a top-tier school. They went all out for prom. 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, bright-eyed, full of energy. I took some photos of Ethan. He disappeared. Then he snuck back and pulled me aside.
Vera.
Take a picture of us. Saoirse stood next to him. With so many people around, they kept a little distance between them.
Shy.
Awkward. I gave them a thumbs up. In the photo, the flower arch behind them was beautiful. For a second, I was back in the past. Back in high school. My own prom. It had been Nolan's 18th birthday. Vera? Ethan came up next to me. You okay? You look like you're a million miles away. I snapped back. I was just thinking you're not that brave, huh? Standing a mile apart in the photo. Ethan coughed, rubbing the back of his neck. Her parents are here.
Oh.
My parents had been at my prom too. But Nolan's parents, they'd never shown up. Not once. Which had given me an opening. I dragged him up to the roof. Nolan, I got you a birthday present. His dark eyes met mine. He'd always been like that. Hard to read. Unbothered. Even with everyone celebrating downstairs. Even with the confetti in the air. Even on his birthday. A present, he'd ask softly. My heart had been slamming against my ribs. I'd stood on my toes and kissed him. That was my first time kissing him. I'd meant to pull away right after. But that day, Nolan had been different. He'd grabbed my hand, held me close, and kissed me back.
Clumsy.
But with this desperate, restrained kind of passion. Later he'd asked me, with me on every birthday from now on. Okay. And I'd been so loopy and happy. I get to kiss you every time? Then yes.
Anyway.
I'd been a lovesick idiot. Looking back, it was genuinely embarrassing. Nolan's first girlfriend was a total disaster. I was still lost in my feelings when a familiar voice came from behind me. Mr. West? Can we take a picture together too? I turned around. The math teacher was standing in front of Nolan, smiling. They'd just finished taking photos with students. It wasn't an unreasonable request. I clutched my phone. I'd been running around all morning, barely see Nolan. And now he was going to take a picture with some other woman? After saying he wanted to see me? Nolan seemed to sense it. He looked up. The math teacher followed his gaze. Then she blinked and held her phone out to me. Miss Chen, would you mind taking one for us? Me. Before I could answer, Nolan said, No. Awkward silence. The math teacher clearly hadn't expected that, especially not on my behalf. She hesitated. I could ask Mr. Wang to take it.
No.
That's not convenient. The math teacher looked confused. Her hand hung in the air. What? Nolan held my gaze steady, but he was talking to her. I'm trying to win her back.
So, no.
Holy shit. Mira was speechless. This man's coming at you this hard? I nodded frantically. I'd spent the whole relationship chasing him. Now that the tables had turned, I was not handling it well.
No.
You have to stay strong. Mira paced in circles. Don't let his pretty face fool you. He needs to pass the test. I paused, then nodded frantically again.
His class is really busy right now.
For Ethan's sake, I should at least wait until after prom, right? Mira just stared at me. You chased him for like 3 years. He's been chasing you for 3 months. And you're gonna fold. I pulled out a random picture I'd taken of Nolan with his students on the field. Standing in a crowd, he still stood out. Mira hesitated 3 seconds. Fine. I mean, look at that face. That body. Might as well enjoy it while you're young. She paused, then leaned in. So, back in the day, did you guys ever? Nope. I held up my hands. He wouldn't. 10 problem sets for handholding. You do the math. Mira. I thought for a minute. After prom, I'll find a time to really talk to him. About everything. The last months of high school felt like forever. But the weeks leading up to graduation exams? They flew by. Suddenly it was June.
Hot. The end.
Graduation exams. Nolan came to send off the students. And as a family member, obviously I was there too. Mr. West. Ethan says everyone's going out after their last exam. You going? Nolan put one hand in his pocket. If I go, they won't relax.
Oh.
I coughed. So, are you free tonight? He looked at me. A pause. Yeah, he said. There's something I need to tell you. 5 p.m. The last exam ended. Students poured out of the school gates like water. Some laughing, some crying. Saying goodbye to all of it. I sent Ethan a cash gift via text and then got the hell out of there, with their homeroom teacher in tow.
Ha.
Finding a good dinner spot at this hour? Not easy. Nolan went to park. I went to put our name in. And I ran into Liam. He looked past me, surprised. Vera, you and Nolan back together? I was about to say not yet when he let out a relieved laugh. That makes sense. I frowned. What makes sense? No wonder he's been in such a good mood lately. I thought it was his students' practice exam scores. But now I get it. It's you. Liam sighed. After his mom died, I haven't seen him like this. Not once. I froze. Wait, what? His mother died. Liam blinked. You didn't know? It's been years. He never told you. My chest squeezed so tight, I couldn't breathe. When Liam realized I genuinely didn't know. Oh man, if he didn't tell you, well, I guess you'll find out eventually, anyway. He thought for a second. Spring semester of freshman year. Sometime in early May. His mom OD'd. Pills. He took a week off. Came back looking like a ghost. A pause. Pretty sure you guys broke up after that. I just assumed you knew. Freshman year. Early May. My accident. So, I couldn't finish the thought. I realized I had no idea what I'd done to him. How unfair I'd been. The parking lot was full. I had to park down the street. Nolan walked in. Sat down across from me. Took one look at my face, and his voice went soft. What's wrong? I looked down. Nothing. Just don't know what to order. He took the menu. Their spicy fried chicken's good. The chili beef is pretty solid too. I said, out of nowhere. You've had them? He paused. A couple times. With coworkers. I didn't say anything. Nolan couldn't handle spice. Even with hot pot, He always got the non-spicy broths. I used to mess with him, eat something spicy and then kiss him. He'd turn red and chug milk afterward. He'd never order spicy stuff on his own. And he sure as hell wouldn't eat it. I ordered some vegetables and soup. Took a long time before I finally said,
Hey.
You said there was something you needed to tell me. Nolan seemed to be choosing his words carefully. I don't know if you still want to hear it, but I owe you an explanation. He was quiet for a second, like he was sorting through old, tangled memories. I'm a bastard. My heart cracked. I looked up at him. His face was calm, like he was talking about someone else's life. After she got pregnant, he married someone else. Someone his parents approved of. I only saw him once. At her funeral. So many things clicked into place. Why the golden boy smoked on the roof. Why his seat at parent-teacher conferences was always empty. Why, at prom, when I said I had a birthday present for him, he'd looked so stunned. Why he'd asked me, almost desperate, whether I'd spend every birthday with him from now on. Back then, Nolan's dark lashes dropped, casting shadows on his cheeks. I couldn't tell you. I never liked anyone the way I liked you. And when you finally liked me back, what if you found out? What if you stopped? What would I do then? I grabbed my own hands under the table. After exams ended, my mom went to find him. Whatever happened, she came back worse. She needed a lot of medical care. Expensive. Nolan's voice was light, like he was talking about something that happened a lifetime ago. I was desperate. I took on as much research as my professor would give me. Picked up every shift I could. I was terrified I couldn't take care of her. And I was terrified I couldn't take care of you too. But then she left anyway. My palms hurt from how hard I was clenching them. I forced the words out. When? Nolan was quiet for so long. I tried so hard to keep my voice steady, but it still came out shaking. So that day, when I texted you,
And you didn't reply.
and I called, and then I broke up with you. That was after, wasn't it? Nolan still didn't speak. I thought of something else. You came to see me after, didn't you? Nolan turned his cup in his hands. After a long time, he nodded.
Yeah.
I handled everything. And then I came back to explain.
But I saw you with another guy.
Walking together. I said softly. Why didn't you ask me? You know how much I loved you, Nolan. If you'd just said something. I didn't want to be selfish. His voice was steady. I was always asking you to prove it. Always needing you to show me, over and over, that you'd stay. No matter what I did. But that day, I realized I wasn't good enough for you. You're the best person I know. You deserve to be loved by everyone. You were never supposed to be stuck with me. Struggling. Hurting. My voice broke. That's not fair. That's not fair, Nolan. I loved you. I never thought being with you was hard. You don't get to decide that for me. That's not how this works. The tears came. I couldn't stop them. You can't do this. You made me leave the person I loved most in the world. And I didn't even know. I couldn't imagine what Nolan felt like when he got that breakup message. I'd promised him. Every birthday. I'd be there. And I broke that promise. I didn't even know who to blame anymore. For a second, Nolan looked lost. Like he didn't know what to do.
Vera.
Don't cry. He was always so sure of everything. It was rare to see him like this. I wiped my face with the back of my hand. Looked at him with red, wet eyes.
So.
All those years. You'd rather stay apart than tell me. Why now? Nolan pressed his lips together. Then he said, I tried to quit smoking. I tried to quit loving you. I couldn't do either one. When you're here, cigarettes are easy to give up. When you're not, the love just keeps growing.
Vera.
Do you still want Nolan? And then what? Mira was looking at me with tears streaming down her face. I remembered that she'd told me to stay strong. And then I guiltily flashed her the ring on my finger. Wah. Mira cried even harder. That's so big and pretty. Me. When's the wedding? Mira wiped her face. Can I pick out my bridesmaid dress first? My parents were thrilled. Ethan, though? He looked complicated. So, let me get this straight. I take my graduation exams and I get you a husband. I thought about it.
Well,
At least you don't have to worry about us breaking up before prom. Because we're getting married after exams. Honestly, I'm a great sister. Ethan. Ethan, fine. Did you lock down the high school table yet? I leaned over Nolan's shoulder. When everyone got the invites, they lost their minds. I mean, last time they saw us at a wedding, we looked like we'd rather die than talk to each other. And now we're getting married? Yeah, I get it. Almost. Nolan showed me the list. I tapped it. Brittany? Nolan raised an eyebrow. I thought you didn't like her. I don't. That's why I'm inviting her. Didn't she ask for your number last time? I wrinkled my nose. I need to mark my territory. Nolan nodded approvingly. Okay. He scooped me up in his arms. Me? Little Nolan, what are you doing? His hand settled on my waist. You said you needed to mark your territory. Knock yourself out. I'm sorry, what?
he paused.
I looked up at him, blushing. He was looking at the scar on my left knee. I got shy. It's barely even visible anymore. He kissed it. His breath was hot. I shivered. Couldn't get the rest of the words out. But eventually, in between breaths, I whispered against his ear. Nolan, I really, really like you. He held me tighter. Me too. Thank you. For still wanting Nolan. Nolan sighed. I've known I was a mistake since I was a kid. I never met my father. My mom said I looked just like him.
So sometimes she was good to me.
But most of the time, she looked at me with this hate in her eyes. Like she wished I'd never been born. Nobody knew. Nobody ever came to parent-teacher conferences. That was fine. My grades were good enough that I could make up an excuse, and the teachers would let it go. First day of high school, my mom had one of her episodes. Threw things around the apartment. I got to school late.
Didn't matter anyway.
Hey, you. A girl called out behind me. I turned around. She froze. Her face went red. That happened a lot. But what she said next, I didn't expect. You're gonna be late. She pointed toward the right side of the fence. I'll distract them. You can climb over there. She was different from other people. Later I realized she wasn't just different. She was one of a kind. I know she put coffee on my desk for a week straight, because every time I drank it, she was staring at me. Except she was staring at the coffee. I know the letter she slipped into my physics textbook was from her, because she shoved it in during study hall, in front of an entire classroom, while I was at a competition meeting. I know she slashed her own bike tire. She struggled with it for like 20 minutes. I had to wait for her outside the bike shed. I couldn't be with her. If I said yes too fast, would she fall out of love just as fast? The first time she confessed, I almost said yes. It took everything I had not to. I didn't say a word. She complained about that for years. She never knew I couldn't speak. Because if I opened my mouth, I'd say yes. I know she picked the science track because of me. But with her grades, we wouldn't end up at the same place after high school. But she was supposed to be with me. She said it herself. My leaf, her name. She was mine. I was hers. I'd never had a birthday. She gave me my first present. I loved it. I still love it. I was so busy. So tired. But I didn't want to tell her.
She was always so happy.
So free. She shouldn't have to be sad because of someone like me. When I got her text in the hospital, lying in my dorm room at 4 a.m., I thought I got it wrong. It wasn't that she couldn't live without me. I couldn't live without her. All those years without her, I started smoking again. I moved back to the city where she was working. I ate at every Sichuan restaurant I could find. When the spice burned my throat, I'd think, would she like this? I thought I was doing okay. I thought I could keep going like that. And then I saw her again. No makeup. Just like high school. Beautiful as ever. Maybe I was always selfish. Maybe I just wanted to try. Nolan has nothing. Nolan only loves Vera.
So the moral of the story is, never trust a cold, emotionally unavailable, top-ranked academic weapon because apparently they are just emotionally buffering for 7 years and then suddenly unlock, "I've only ever had one," like it's a secret DLC. Also, if your ex becomes your little brother's teacher, congratulations. You didn't move on. You just enrolled in the sequel. And honestly, Vera's main character energy is simple. She didn't lose him. She just temporarily misplaced him during a 7-year healing arc sponsored by misunderstandings, trauma, and absolutely zero communication skills. Meanwhile, Nolan's love languages: silence, academic superiority, jealousy, speed run. "I'm trying to win you back," said like it's a casual weather update. Final lesson: if someone says, "I can't be with you right now," in romance novels that translates to, "See you in 6 years when I've emotionally processed everything and also accidentally become hotter." 10th story. Would cry, suffer, and still order spicy hot pot with him again. Like and subscribe for more emotionally unstable love stories where nobody talks, everyone suffers, and the physics teacher is the final boss of romance.